guys are ridiculous. These guys are...
And we are back with another episode of the From the Rafters podcast. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, November 8th. And we have plenty of Celtics news. And I'm just going to start off with the news that has been sweeping Twitter today, which, you know, you can call it real, you can call it fake, but it came from Shams. And so if a rumor comes from Shams or Woj, there has to be something to it. Whether that something is substantial is a matter of opinion. But Shams reporting that the Boston Celtics are interested / have inquired about Philadelphia 76ers guard Ben Simmons, a trade for it. And he also mentioned that any trade for Ben Simmons would have to include Jaylen Brown. I mean, we've talked about this plenty of times. I think most Celtics fans are in agreement that trading Brown for Simmons would be a downgrade. I know that's probably your opinion, but what went through your head when you saw that report initially when Shams tweeted it out?
This is going to be a very quick segment because there's nothing to that report. It's what that report says. You know this as well as someone that's like a writer and involved in the media to an extent. Jack and I are fans, but we both do professional things. Jack is paid to write. I am paid to work in news. What he's saying is, or what Shams did is he took something that's not a story and worded it to a way where it is a story. So yes, the Celtics would be interested in Ben Simmons. Of course they would. The Sixers want, if they're going to trade Ben Simmons to the Celtics, they want Jaylen Brown. And so what happened was the Celtics called and said, hey, we'll take Ben Simmons. And then they said, okay, give us Jaylen Brown. And then the Celtics hung up. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's the most likely scenario. I can't imagine anything else would happen. I will ask you, though.
I don't doubt that they called them.
Yeah,
but
have to. You have to do.
I don't know why, people are saying, why, anyone cares about this that much. Okay, sure. It's like when we had John Corrales, for those of you that listen to us, every week or every time we release. John was talking to us. It was when Luka was unhappy.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I can assure you that the Celtics are monitoring the Luka Doncic situation. Yeah, of course they are. That's all this is. It's they called and said, hey, we're interested in Ben Simmons.
I can guarantee you every team in the NBA has called about Ben Simmons.
Yeah, of course they have. Every
team. You have to. When a player of that caliber, love him or hate him, goes on the market, you have to call and see what they're asking for. And the reports have been Daryl Morey's been asking for too much, and he probably should have taken some of those initial trades he was getting. Obviously, the Pacers one was the one that stood out the most. Brogdon.
Well, no, he really should have traded
for
Harden last season.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about ever since Ben Simmons requested the trade. That was pre that whole issue. Ben Simmons and the Sixers.
What was good. The Pacers?
It was, offer? I believe it was Brogdon, Warren, and a first. And then they said no, which isn't a bad, package. It would help the Sixers be competitive, especially with how good they are right now.
If I'm I respect what Morey's doing. I mean, Simmons has literally no leverage. He's under contract for 4 seasons. Don't play basketball then. Don't get paid. I wouldn't. I'd be like, I don't care. I don't know what to tell you. And if you don't play basketball for 4 seasons, you're gonna fall off. You're not gonna be playing at that level.
And it's not like the Sixers are bad. They're 8-2. And I've said this. I've been writing a bunch of articles lately, and the Sixers have come up. It's magical how their spacing is the best it's ever been. They're leading the league in 3-point percentage. Joel Embiid isn't putting up massive numbers, but Seth Curry's having a career high season.
Yeah, Embiid's not even playing well.
Furkan Korkmaz.
He's not efficient as a center. Season. He's shooting. Last I looked, 41% from the field.
But it doesn't
something
matter.
Around that, and it doesn't even matter.
But it doesn't matter because they have spacing. It's crazy how that works, Philadelphia. So I don't know. It's wild. The Sixers look great. I wrote a power rankings list, which we can get into a little later because I wanted to get your thoughts. But as a late show filler. But I will ask you before we move on from Simmons: is there anything you would give up for Ben Simmons on the Celtics?
I'd probably give up. Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but I'd give up probably just about anything besides the two top guys. Yeah, I mean, after what you've seen this season, Marcus Smart doesn't look fantastic. He seems to be creating problems. I still think he's great and he's my favorite player, but I don't know. I mean, just depends. Then again, Simmons is like broken, so you know what you have in Smart and you don't with Simmons. And you have to, if he sucks, you have him for another 3 years on
Yeah,
max
Smart for that
money.
long anyways. So
Well, yeah, but Smart, at least you know what you're going to get.
yeah, that's true.
And
But I mean,
at least he'll shoot.
yeah, the upside of Simmons though is where it gets you thinking because he's still a great player. Like
Oh,
as
I
much as
mean,
you hate him, he's still a
I
great
would
player.
do it. Yeah. I mean, why don't
Yeah.
you? This season so far has really made me realize, like, sometimes, I mean, to trade, you have to give to get, obviously.
Wow, Sam's coming around.
But you still can't touch either of those top guys.
No, I agree.
You know,
I know.
This team right now is just not good enough. It's not.
No.
They keep losing games they should win, which we'll get into, and it's starting to get bad. Like, you're 4-6 through 10 games, probably should be 9-1. Seriously, I mean, there's been one game where they haven't been in it at all. That's it. Every single game has been winnable at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what'll happen with Simmons. We can move on from that, but you have to bring it up. News like that comes out, as realistic or not realistic as it is. It's important. Next up on my laundry list of things, I just wrote down Luka Doncic dagger because I mean, yeah, that hurt. And you can blame the Celtics for having a poor start. You can blame Marcus Smart for that foul, which was awful, which we can talk about. But that shot at the end was well contested, right? Like it sucks to lose that game. It's a heartbreaker, but it's not like they could have defended that shot any better, right?
No, I mean, well, they could have made him go the other way. That's the side he likes to shoot from, and they let him go.
Yeah, but that shot was not like, it's not like they just let him pull up. Like he was.
The biggest problem I have isn't even like the Smart thing. Like, yeah, like it was horrible, and like, yeah, he shouldn't have done that. That game shouldn't have got to that point. They couldn't get a stop for most of the fourth quarter because they kept switching Rob Williams onto Doncic. In every possession, Luka's calling for a screen, and you're just giving him Rob Williams. You're going to do something to prevent it? Like, it's not rocket science. He's doing the same thing every time to a guy that can't cover him.
Yeah, and before the game, I mean, you knew the game plan going in to slow Luka down, and I mean, like you said, switching Rob on him is just.
I will say this: it's like fucking clockwork. I swear. Like, Doncic has not been good this season by his standards.
He's been struggling. Yeah, he's been struggling. Like Tatum
and sure as shit, he plays the Celtics, and he's the same old fucking guy. Fat, doesn't matter. I mean, I'm telling you, Jack, this is like clockwork. These guys, they come play the Celtics. Maybe it's the defense.
That's what I was going to say. At what point can you stop blaming, oh, this guy randomly had a good game versus, maybe the Celtics needed to do something fucking different?
They do need to do something. I just told you what they need to do. But still, like, he gets going early. I didn't think the defense was horrible early. I just think they couldn't hit the side of a barn to shoot.
Which is a theme now. That happens for the Celtics, which is unfortunate.
They're going to be without Brown for 2 weeks here. So it's really going to be something we have to get used to as fans. But it's absolutely ridiculous, some of these performances they have to play against. I mean, even Porzingis, like, that was ridiculous. The guy starts making shots all of a sudden. He's a bum. Porzingis is not good. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the sentiment, but at what point, like I
don't even know why Rob was in the game, at least on the last possession. They know they're just playing defense.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't have somebody else to put in, but if you're going to do that, switch everything. Not that it mattered because they had Richardson. It was fine. I think Richardson was a fine defender, did a fine job. Like I said, the only thing I would have done is really made him work, like go the other way. But even then, you pushed him to the corner. I mean, I don't know what else you can really do.
Yeah, you know my theory. I don't usually agree with you with the whole, you know this, like, oh, they should be 8-0, that type of stuff. Oh, these players play well.
Oh, I know you don't agree with it, but like, that's just how I think. Like, I just think, like,
I know, but
I still think they're better than the majority. I don't think Washington's a good team. Like, yeah, they're playing well, but I don't think they're that good. The Knicks are starting to fall now. I mean, what are they losing? Like, what have they lost? Like 3 out of 4?
6-4, 6-4, 6-3 right now, around there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was ready to crown them. I mean, they're 2 games better than the Celtics, who have been horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point in the season, 10 games in, this is when I made a comment. I think I made this comment on the show, like 10 games in, or maybe it was in a tweet. 10 games in, we can start to evaluate, how good the Celtics are. And they have improved. I think these last 3 games have been a massive improvement. Obviously they've had their ups and downs. The Mavericks game was tough. You lose a game like that, it's not good.
Well, you didn't have Jaylen Brown playing for you either. Yeah. And Yeah, I mean, that's just another game. I mean, it's a freak thing. I'm not upset about it, but the ball bounced off Tatum's foot there. They closed the defensive possession, got the rebound, and just hits like Schroeder runs into him. Like
it's
that's
just
whatever.
tough.
I mean, it's silly, it happened, whatever, but it's not. It's not like the intentional foul from Smart. Like I don't know what that was. Why did he do that?
Yeah, that was
And
a
Ime said he didn't tell him to do it. Ime, like I don't know what that was either. Like his comment was so bizarre. Like just he tried to like take the blame for it, but he still threw him under the bus. Like pick a side. Either take the blame or throw him under the bus.
Well, what'd he say? He was like, I should have. I think it's kind of like
he took the blame in the dumbest way. Like he was like, yeah, like I should have made sure everyone knew. Like I said, I told everyone not to foul, but like I should have done a better job. Like no, pick a side. Like throw him under the bus or don't.
when it comes down to it,
he threw Brown under the bus. He said it was mind-boggling. I don't get it.
When it comes down to it, Ime Udoka's not on the floor. That's Marcus Smart's fault. Like that's how I see it, right?
It is. I agree. Even if he tells you to foul him, you should know better than why am I fouling him?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and
that was bad. I'm never someone to get on Smart's case, but that was bad.
And the worst part is, up to that point, he looked great. He was playing phenomenal defense. I thought he was having a good game. Exactly. He's having a great game. And then that kind of had it crumbling down.
He took the shot to possession before, too. That was not good.
Yeah. Yeah. But the last 2-minute report, I don't know if you saw it, Sam. It was a foul.
Well, they didn't call it, so it wasn't a foul. And
exactly.
The way they've been playing this year, I would have told you that's not going to be a foul.
Yeah, no, I don't.
They haven't been calling
think it was a foul. No. I agree with you. I'm just saying it's funny that they changed that in the last 2-minute report.
It doesn't. I hate. They need to stop releasing that. It doesn't do anything.
No. Wrapping back around
though. You off. Right,
what you were saying about the Wizards, I want to talk about that because at this point in the season, I think the teams that are playing well are good teams. I don't think you can be a fluky, have a good record after 10 games.
Yes, you can.
I think there's
Orlando's done it like in the last 5 years.
I think there's levels to it though. I think a team like the Cavs who are 6-4, that I don't think that's real. I think a team like the Wizards.
Why not? Why don't you think it's real? What's the difference?
Besides
difference is Sexton tearing his meniscus today.
The difference is the makeup of the team, right? Young, hungry teams like that can get hot. But if the Wizards have people who have actually made the playoffs before, who have actually like veterans, Bradley Beal, a superstar, versus Darius Garland, Evan Mobley running the show. Like I love the Cavs. I think they're entertaining, but I just think the talent difference is what versus getting hot at the right time. And that's why I think the Raptors are also kind of real. I think the Raptors are going to be, a play-in team that could squeak into that 6th seed. I think the Wizards are in that same spot. And I don't think the Cavs are there, partially, obviously, because Colin Sexton now is going to miss some time, no timetable for return. But they don't have much experience outside of Kevin Love, who, I mean, he's wasting away there. There's nothing to say about Kevin Love.
Good.
But
good. Let him waste away because that needs to happen like more often. Like, oh, it's messed up. Like, their players or whatever. He's getting paid $30 million a year. I honestly couldn't care less. I don't want him getting bought out and joining Brooklyn or like the Lakers. It doesn't need to happen. Like it's ridiculous or they need to change that rule. And I'm saying it now before like it starts happening. They're like, oh, he's just complaining because he's going to whatever team. If you get bought out and you like you're going to join a team, it has to be like a team that's not in the playoffs.
That's never in the history of the game going to happen, right?
Why wouldn't it happen? Why shouldn't it happen? Like, give me one good reason why it shouldn't happen.
Because players are allowed to choose wherever they want to play. That's just life.
Well, yeah, but you were under contract. You're under contract. You signed a contract and you got out of it. It doesn't mean you get to like quit on your team and go join the best team. That's ridiculous.
That's exactly what it means.
Yeah, but it shouldn't mean that. That's not fair to the game. It's not fair to the team that the person was on.
If I don't like my job and my job lets me out of my contract, I can't sign with like a better company. That's not allowed.
Yeah, it's apples to oranges. It sounds the same because it's a contract situation.
Why?
But it's because it's the NBA. It's like
why?
Because if you're a writer, Jack, there's like millions of other writers out there that could fill your spot. If you're in the NBA, there's not another, like, let's use Kevin Love for an example. Like, if he's giving them something, which I don't know if he's not,
but he's not though.
Okay, he's not. But traditionally, LaMarcus Aldridge, he was probably the best player on the Spurs last year, right? Before he got bought out, and he goes and joins the Nets. Like, sure, he had like the heart problem and it didn't really mean anything at the end of the day, but when it happened, it was ridiculous. It shouldn't be allowed to happen.
Okay, it's the
Blake
difference
Griffin
I
doesn't
see.
try for the Pistons, stops dunking, and then all of a sudden goes and plays in Brooklyn. Not that he was phenomenal, but like you can obviously see he's all of a sudden trying. That shouldn't be rewarded.
It's just
That no way should that be rewarded.
the difference I see, and I agree with you. I mean, handling yourself in the correct way. Like LaMarcus Aldridge handled himself fine. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. This is not like my career. Like I don't know, blah blah blah." Like
Yeah, but
not
you
trying
signed a
visibly on the court.
contract.
Yes, but when you sign the contract and then the company goes downhill, and I'm using company and team interchangeably, like understandably, you're going to be frustrated.
You're
And
gonna be frustrated, but it's different. It's not the same thing. In the
I
corporate
disagree
world,
with you.
there are different people you can just hire.
Okay, the parallel I see, say, I'm trying to think of a good team. Say Draymond Green is like, yeah, I don't like it here anymore. Get me out. And he goes to sign with a different competitor. The Warriors
Then they would
are
trade
good.
him.
Yeah, the Warriors are good. That's the difference. The Spurs, who are like 0 and whatever, like losing all their games, why they don't want to play LaMarcus anyways. It's like the Al Horford thing last year. They don't want him.
Yeah, but they didn't buy him out. Exactly. They didn't buy him out.
They should
They
have.
traded him.
They should have bought him out.
Why should they have bought him out?
I just think that if a team
He got
doesn't
rest.
need
It
a
was
player
great
anymore,
for him.
clearly it
The
worked out.
Celtics had to give them something. They ended up buying out Kemba, but they had to make an exchange. Like that's
It benefited the Pistons to buy Blake Griffin out.
because they get out of his. Do they even get out of that money? I don't know how
They paid some money and then they got out of the rest of the contract early.
It's still like he shouldn't get rewarded for that.
That's not how life works. You're allowed. It's free will. You can do whatever you want. Once you're a free agent, you can do whatever you want. I don't think they need any rules against it. I think it's just
they
that's
absolutely
just how
need
life
rules
is.
against that.
So
Or you can only sign one.
That would be a more fair rule. But telling a player, okay, now you can only sign here, that's just never going to happen.
Well, they would know the options. It's not like they get blindsided before they get bought out.
I know,
it's
but
either
still...
it's either get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to be on this team, or don't be on this team and go play somewhere else. But like, it's not going to be the best team in the league. Like,
I
you shouldn't be
sentiment.
encouraging guys to quit on their team.
No, I understand the sentiment, but at some point you got to realize, like, it's not like Blake Griffin was going to lead them to playoffs, and it sucks. And I understand he signed a big contract.
I'm not saying last year, but in years past, he could have. I mean, Jeremy Grant played good last year. I mean, he was a good player. I'm not saying the Pistons were a good team. But I mean, if he really gave it his all, they could have been interesting at the very least. Like, I don't know. You're going to disagree. It's just like the inmates are running the asylum. Like the Blake Griffin one, I have a massive issue with.
Well,
I mean, he clearly stops trying, gets rewarded for not trying, and joins what people pick to be the favorite to win the title.
That part's clearly frustrating to see.
Yes.
Like the James Harden thing, you can make the same parallel. Like you stop trying
forcing
your way out.
At least they had the opportunity to get something. Like they could have got Simmons for him, and they didn't because Philly didn't want to, or whatever the issue was there, right? Like there was value to that. Like Harden was in the same situation as those other guys. Like that team was going to be like a scrub team. It was not going to be a good team.
No, Harden would have made the playoffs with Harden.
Well, they did not have a good start. They didn't get off to a very good start.
No, continue. I understand.
It's the same situation. Like Harden could exactly what he did, and they just nipped it in the bud. Like he could have just not tried like Blake Griffin, pretended to be fat like he did. I mean, at least they had the opportunity to get something for him. If you're going to be traded and the team's going to get something back from you, like, yes, sure, Blake Griffin, like they got rid of his contract or whatever. They could have done that through trade and got like picks back as well. No,
I agree with you in the sense that players who force their way out of situations, that's shitty, right? It's like Anthony Davis, what he did, that's trash. James Harden did, that's trash. Blake Griffin, that's trash. On the same time, like the LaMarcus Aldridge situation, you can't tell me he like complained to the Spurs. That was a mutual thing. Obviously, the Spurs were like, okay, we have no use for you. And it came out. I'm pretty sure it came out that it was a mutual thing. Spurs were like, all right, we're not going to give you these minutes. You know, you obviously still have some sort of value left and you could help in a minor role on a contending team. Because players like that, and as much as I shit on DeMar DeRozan, he's playing amazing. The general idea behind players like that is they're good enough to be in a small role on a good team But then on a bad team, they'd be the star of the show, and that's just taking away from the young guys. So situations like that, it's fine. But then once you get past the point where they're getting bought out, you can't restrict it for some and not for others. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't restrict Blake Griffin from going to certain teams, but since Marcus Aldridge handled the situation better, he can do whatever he wants. That's just like you
Well,
just
yeah,
can't
that's
do
why I
that.
would say none of them can go and join a title contender, and you would just see how it changes the way teams operate, how differently players would try. I'm not saying Aldridge wasn't trying or whatever, but the whole mindset of the team would be different. I mean, you can like tie it to tanking too, because that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't. I mean, in theory, like you should tank. Like, yeah, it's better. Like if you're not going to win a title or compete, like you should try and get the best pick you can get or whatever. Okay, but players should still like be trying to win. Like that's not like that's why like I personally think that not that they'll ever do this, but they should add like they're all about expansion. They should add more teams and like make 2 divisions and have relegation. So those teams at the bottom still have to try.
That would be
They'll
fun.
never ever do it.
No, never. But that would definitely be fun. They could send the best G League teams up to the NBA and the worst NBA
Yeah,
teams
like you
down.
could do that.
I hope they expand soon. I think an expansion would be super fun.
I don't care for expansion.
I think that'd be very fun. Yeah, no, it's tough because you can't take away the rights of the players to do what they want because that's just life. You mean people have, it's a free country.
Well, like you sign a contract. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, I know, but then
I just think
point,
it's too easy for these guys to get out of contracts. Like the contract doesn't mean anything, especially these guys like, saying I want to be traded. Like Ben Simmons, like you have 4 years left. You have no leverage.
And they're handling it perfectly.
They are, and I say I stand by that. Like they absolutely.
Then the Pistons should have just said no. Like then at that point it was just more beneficial for them to be like, all right, see you later. We'll just use that roster spot for someone that can actually help us moving forward. I'm going to say it again. He handled it shitty. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
he got rewarded for it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, at that point,
there
Blake's
just
a free
needs
agent, though. He can do whatever he wants.
There is like a fluidity to it where like you're saying like you can't like pick and choose because there are situations. I feel like most of the time when guys are getting bought out, it's just like, like they're doing it a lot of the times. It just seems like they're trying to join a contender.
Well, I think it's from the team. I think you're disregarding the fact that the teams probably have some say in it as well, in the sense that like they probably don't.
Well, because they can tank
anyways. Yeah, exactly.
Because they want to tank.
No, even less like about the tanking thing.
Well, I know you want to give the young guys minutes,
who can get
whatever.
better. Exactly. Like Terrence Ross could get bought out this season because the Magic, get them guys more minutes. But Terrence Ross also isn't going to force his way out of Orlando. And then at that point, you say, okay,
there's also a difference with that to where he's not like someone that's been an all-star, someone that really has been like a dominant player. He's a role player regardless if he's on the Magic or Brooklyn. Not that I think he should be able to go join Brooklyn.
Blake Griffin was a role player too.
Blake was a role player yes, too, but like his career, he was like a star. Like
that
I don't know.
I don't think the past matters. I think it matters what player you are at that point. We can move on from this. We can get back to Celtics. That was a tangent. You mentioned this earlier, and I want to talk about it a little bit. Jaylen Brown obviously reportedly out for 1 to 2 weeks due to his hamstring tightness. Jason Tatum put on a show in that Mavericks game, even though they did end up losing to Luka Doncic and the dagger.
Thought he was fine.
I think that's what it's going to take for them to win with Brown out. And that could be, the turning point for Tatum's season. I surely hope it was because he looked great. What are you looking for from the rest of the team and Tatum as Brown is going to miss this time?
I think you got like a pretty good showing. I didn't think they played the best game they could possibly play. I think you're going to see a lot more from Schroeder. He's been really pretty good at getting himself to the basket, which is important when Brown's in and when he's not. I think the biggest thing is it's on Ime to make sure he puts out the best possible lineup when Tatum's not on the floor. Because we saw a lot of times where there were just lulls in the offense. They couldn't score. They get back in that game, get it to 2, then it balloons back up. I'm not sure if Tatum was in the game or not for that. But if he wasn't, and I feel like he wasn't, there was a point where they took him out and they blew it up a little bit more again, but he quickly came back in. Obviously, he needs to rest. It's just something that it's difficult. Like your whole game plan this whole season has been keep one of them out there at one time, at all times. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tatum stepping up. And the Mavericks game obviously wasn't perfect. I mean, you let up that many points and down 17. Was it 17 at the half? Obviously, it's not the best
I mean, they
game you
only
could
let up
possibly play.
107. That's not bad by
Yeah,
today's
I know, but
standards.
being down that much
First half was
in
not
a
bad.
half, exactly. But like you said earlier, I think that's just an offensive thing. And Ime, I don't like saying this because on paper, I think the Celtics do have the depth to run a lot of different rotations. It's looking like he doesn't have the right pieces to put successful lineups in place. And that's harsh. But there's very few consistent shooters on the Celtics. Very, very, very few.
Yeah, we
Like
talked about this
what
with
with
Bobby.
Bobby. Yeah. And I think that showed even more in the Mavericks game, right? Aaron Nesmith was the first guy off the bench. And I'm sure you were hyped. I was hyped to see him as the first guy off the bench. And he didn't shoot well, right? He had a good night against Miami. And then what did he shoot against Dallas? I don't know the exact numbers, but I know he clanked like his first 3 shots, right? Like Nesmith wasn't a good shooter. And when
He
you don't
wasn't the
have
same
guys,
player as the other
exactly.
day, and I still contend like it is on him. Obviously, he's the guy playing the game, but it's tough for guys of that age,
When you don't get
mentality
consistent playing
to
time, you're not going to
to
play
be
well.
consistent without consistent time. That's We talked about this earlier today because I sent that tweet of somebody that like put that the Celtics drafted Neesmith over Cole Anthony.
Yeah.
And sure, like, yeah, Cole Anthony is playing great this season. But
It's phenomenal.
one of the reasons he's playing great is because he's had so much time to where he's out
He's
there
comfortable. He's
without
comfortable.
being restricted.
Mhm.
And Neesmith has got such staggered minutes because of the depth and star power and, Tatum and Brown being his same position.
Cole
He's
Anthony
not
is
going
the
to get a lot of
magic.
time.
He is the magic this season, and that helps a lot. And Cole Anthony's so fun. I mean, he's just a joy to watch and everything. But
And good for
I
him.
completely agree. Yeah, he looks great. And
I
he's
just
shooting the ball
think
well too, which you'll respect.
people that are fans of the league just don't understand that there is more that goes into drafting than the players. Like, sure, like he's panned out, but if he's on the Celtics, he might not pan out the same way. Same with Tyler
Yep.
Hero. Like the Celtics didn't get him. They wanted him. He got Miami, got a lot of opportunity to play with them. Like, I'm not so sure he gets that opportunity with the Celtics. A lot of traditionally guys have not gotten the opportunity with the Celtics. They've had to grow into it. Like Tatum was the only one that got it right away.
I think
Even Brown was playing like not frequent minutes.
I think the biggest factor in how well a rookie does, outside of like the generational talents, like LeBron James is always going to be good, stuff like that. The biggest thing, in my opinion, is coaching, right? The coach that gives you the minutes and gives you that chance. Eric Spoelstra saw what he had in Tyler Hero. He was the sixth man, and now he's, the star of the show in Miami off the bench. He's amazing. Cole Anthony, right?
Played really well against Celtics.
Yep. Cole. All right. Cole Anthony was fine last year with Steve Clifford, but now Jamal Mosley's in the game, coaching the Magic. He's getting more minutes, and oh, look at that. He's playing amazing basketball, right? I think there's a huge difference in how these guys are coached and are, given minutes and how they develop. I think that's a huge factor in how well a rookie plays. Like Romeo Langford is in a situation where he can get consistent minutes. Maybe he's a great player right now, right? And I'm not saying he's bad.
He's played all right. I thought.
Yeah.
Let's see. He was out against Dallas. That's another guy they missed. Good defender that they could have thrown at Luka. Bro, I think Romeo's been pretty decent on defense this year.
Yeah, he's been okay. I'm just saying, the potential's there, but in a different situation, things could be much different. And that was the whole point I was trying to make. So, wrapping back around, though, my point is they don't have shooting. And we talked about this with Bobby, but that makes it a lot harder for Udoka to put out successful rotations, right? Because no lineup the Celtics put out is going to have shooters across the board. Consistent shooters across the board. Like Horford can shoot, but he's not consistent. Grant Williams can shoot, but at this point, I mean, he's not consistent anymore. He's fine, he's good, but he's not consistent. Nesmith clearly isn't consistent. He's fine, he's streaky. You can say that thing for everybody on the roster, and the people you can't say are streaky shooters are just bad shooters. There's no good shooters. There's no. I mean, obviously these are tough examples because you can't just trade for a guy like this, like Seth Curry. elite shooter, gonna make his shots. Buddy Hield, even like going down that Sixers roster, Furkan Korkmaz, Royce O'Neal on the Jazz. Like all these teams around the league have these shooters that they can just put in place, and that's why you see some of these best teams succeed. They're either really good shooting teams or they're really good defensive teams. And the Celtics have the potential to be a really good defensive team, but they're not consistent on that end. And since they don't have the shooting to balance that out, they're just losing games. And like you said, they're a better team than their record shows. I agree with that. I don't think they should be 8-0. I think that's an unrealistic expectation to put on a team in general, but they definitely should be better.
I just don't think they're worse than any of the teams they lost to. I still don't, except for, maybe Dallas. But even then, I so far this year, I don't think Dallas has been that good.
I think the Bulls are a better team. I think the Bulls are better than the Celtics. But we don't have to. That's picking.
They've started out really well, and they've impressed with the style of play. Like when they played the Celtics, I thought they looked great, moving the ball, playing as a team. Which you respect.
They got a good win in there.
No, they did. Is that their only other one? Is that the only other good team they've beat?
I don't know. Let me go look at the Bulls schedule. The Magic beat the Jazz last night. Speaking of Cole Anthony, by the way.
Yeah, I know he was pumped. I wonder how much money you could have made if you bet Orlando to win. Like, what the odds were.
Did you see his post-game interview? You mentioned he was pumped. I assume.
I did see it. I saw it on Facebook today.
That's electric. That was amazing.
Good for him. See, that's how all players should be. They should be happy to win, even if they're on a bad team. Not saying, let me go play with the my buddies.
Yeah. Bulls have played 2 games since that Celtics game, and they lost twice. They're both the Sixers. So it's,
beat a good team besides the Jazz and the Celtics. Seriously, they beat Detroit twice. Toronto, who's a fringe good team. I'm kind of in on Toronto, to be honest with you. I think Barnes is good.
I am too. Mm-hmm.
Who else they beat? They lost to the Knicks.
They beat the Pelicans, the Pistons.
Pelicans are scrubs.
That's it. Pelicans, Pistons.
Pelicans are a disaster.
Jazz, Celtics. Yeah, the Pelicans are a mess. We'll keep tabs on the Bulls because this next stretch they got tonight. They got the Nets.
They play Brooklyn tonight.
Nets, Mavericks, Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, all in a row.
Yeah, I don't think Chicago's a bad team.
No,
I just think with the talent you have on the Celtics team, like you should be able to beat them. Figure it out.
I agree with you. I think on paper the Celtics should be a better team than the Bulls, but they're not. And it sucks, but that's just what I think this year. Speaking of the Lakers, they stink. And
Lakers are scrubs. I told you. First of all, LeBron has been out, so I will.
Yeah, you're right. I'll give you your props there. No,
I will say, LeBron has not played a lot of their games.
He's played 6 out of 10.
Okay, well, they're still bad. And 6 out of 10 is not like 6 out of 10 is not like good numbers. It's
no.
just over 50%. Like when he's playing consistently, they'll probably be a little better. But I told you that team was bums. Like
you
Westbrook's
were right.
not good.
I'm giving you my
Carmelo,
credit.
he can score all the points in the world. Like it doesn't matter.
Carmelo's the only bright spot on that team this year.
Yeah, they're bad. Everyone was like having a circle jerk over them.
Do you want to know the kicker?
I'm unhinged today, but
you want to know the kicker?
What is?
The Lakers have had.
And they've had an easy schedule. Is that what you're going to tell me? They've played OKC twice.
Easiest schedule in the NBA.
They've beat Houston twice. They've played, I believe, the Pelicans.
Yeah, I can go look here, but yeah. No, yeah, the Lakers have played the easiest strength of schedule so far this season out of any NBA team. They've had the easiest schedule. They lost to the Warriors. They lost to the Suns. They beat the Grizzlies, beat the Spurs, beat the Thunder, lost to the Cavs, beat the Rockets twice, lost to the Thunder again, and then they got blown out by the Trailblazers, who stink this year. So it's ugly. It's ugly in LA, and I'll give you the props there. I recently put out a power rankings list for the NBA.
Yes, you did.
I don't think you'd be happy with where I had the Celtics versus the Lakers.
ESPN had them in like the 20s. They should both be around the same. They're both horrendously underachieving.
They're not too far away from each other in my power rankings. The way I kind of formulated my opinion there was, where do I think the teams will end up, like based on how they're playing right now. So like the Cavs obviously aren't going to be a top 10 team in the NBA. Because you can get hot right now. So it was mainly my opinions versus where I taking into account now, also taking into account where I think they'll be at the end of the year. I'm trying to find my power rankings so I can read it out. But we don't have to spend too much time. I can just roll through them really quick and get your opinions.
All right.
So last in the league, I had the Pistons because they suck. 29 was the Pels.
I honestly
28.
think the Pelicans are worse off than the Pistons.
Yeah, the only
Because
reason I had the
Zion's
Pistons
like
lower.
obese now. So like
Yeah, no, it's ugly.
we've just been roasting Zion every show now, but
My main reasoning behind the Pistons being the worst is because they have less talent on paper, and I'm pretty sure they're shooting like 29% from
Cunningham
three.
sucked
Team.
so far too.
Yeah, he's struggling. Anyways, I had Pels 29, Rockets 28, Magic 27, and this was Sunday, so this was before the win against the Jazz. The Magic probably move up a little. Thunder 26, Spurs 25, Timberwolves 24, Pacers 23, Kings 22, Cavs 21, which is probably a little too low, but I'm not on the Cavs bandwagon. They're fun, but Hornets at 20, Hawks at 19, Blazers at 18, Celtics at 17.
That's not bad, to be honest with you. I think that's probably pretty fair.
I thought I was fair. I tried to take
that's higher than
out,
ESPN. Like I said, ESPN has them at like 23. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know about that one, Chief. Funny thing about Charlotte is how like they started 3-0, and since then they've not been good.
Their defense is absolutely atrocious. Is what's killing Charlotte. But yeah, Grizzlies at 16, Raptors at 15, Lakers at 14. So I had the Lakers it's not too much of a gap. But like with the talent the Lakers have versus the Celtics, obviously both teams.
No, and I'd say that's fair. Like they have a better record. I just think they've played bums. So I think the Celtics have played bums too. So fair, good on them. I mean, fair.
I'll wrap it out here. 13, I had the Wizards. 12 Clippers, 11 Bucks. Bucks are terrible too. The Bucks are not.
Yeah, Bucks have fallen. Well, they are injury plagued though. That's like one thing. Like Middleton, and I said this about the Lakers too, so not you, but whoever. Don't say like I'm super biased or anything, because like I did say LeBron's been out. Fairness to them, but
yeah.
Okay.
Giannis has played every game.
Giannis has played, but Middleton has not played much.
Yeah,
Holiday has been out. Lopez has been out.
They've been going through it for sure. Then the top 10. 10, I have the Nuggets. 9, the Mavericks. 8, the Knicks. 7, the Suns. 6, the Nets. 5, the Bulls. 4, the Warriors. 3, the Jazz. 2, the Heat. 1, the Sixers. And that was
I think the Warriors should be number 1.
The Warriors have had the second easiest schedule in the NBA. They have
well, that's fair.
That was the only reason for me putting them down there. Let me look at the Warriors schedule, because
I personally think Miami's been the best team. So
they've been really good. The loss to the Celtics, I think, dipped them in the rankings, and the Sixers are 5-0 in their last 5 games. So that was taken into account. But the Warriors beat the Lakers and the Clippers to start the year, and since then, W over Sacramento, beat the Thunder, lost to the Grizzlies, beat the Thunder again, beat the Hornets, beat the Pelicans, beat the Rockets. Like they're not playing anybody. But yeah, those are my power rankings. I thought Celtics at 17 was pretty fair, based on how they've been playing. It jumps them up from where they were last week. I didn't write the rankings last week, but I think they had a little bit of a bump up.
I mean, they deserved it. I think they had like 2. I mean, Orlando sucks, whatever. But I mean, the Miami game's a quality win. I thought they played well in both the wins. Thought they even played all right against Dallas. And they played well in all the games. They just didn't finish 2 of them.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about before we wrap things up, the East, in my opinion, is a lot better than the West this year.
I agree.
The East is good. And that's scary, especially during a season where the Celtics are struggling. I know you think they should be 8-0. They should be this, should be that. I don't know where you
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Exactly. Where do you think they will end the season? I just want to look ahead, because, like I said,
I personally still think
they're
going to figure it out.
Okay, but how much?
Tatum's not going to suck forever. We saw him play well the other day.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, if Brown, Romeo Langford are playing that game, they have a better shot to win. Hell, if they don't foul Luka, they could win.
Yep.
It shoulda, woulda, coulda. I
agree. I think they'll do better, but
I mean,
yeah.
If Tatum stays figuring out, like they're going to be much better. If he just plug Tatum's performance Sunday into like 90% of the games they lost here, they become wins.
I agree. What I was saying, less of I don't think the Celtics will get much better, in more of the East is really fucking stacked. There's only two really bottom tier teams. I mean, the Pacers aren't good, but they're only a half game
No,
out
I
of the
think
Celtics.
the Pacers are horrible. I don't care what the record says. The Pacers are not good.
All right, even including them, though, there's only 3 teams in the East who I couldn't realistically see making the play-in.
They ain't
which
get
is
rid of
tough.
the play-in.
Then it would
That's
even
another
be
thing.
harder. Then it'd be even worse. I like the play-in, but we can have a difference of opinion. Are the Celtics a top 6 team in the East this year? And not should they be, because I think they should be talent-wise. Will they be?
Well, should and will to me is the same thing at this point.
What do you mean? How so?
Well, they should be able to. They should. So yeah, I think they will. They should figure it out.
See, I'm not as confident.
I don't think they're going to be elite or anything. I think it's going to be tough. This is a bad time for Brown to have gotten hurt because they have a tough stretch, even though Milwaukee hasn't been good. Toronto has. They see them again Wednesday. They blew you out in your own building. Maybe you care a little bit more this time around.
You're in on Toronto, by the way? I glossed over that, but I'm surprised.
Oh, yeah, I told you. I think I'm like fringe in on them. I mean, I don't think they're like crazy good or anything. I just don't think they're bums. I think they're
a playoff team, play-in/playoff team.
Yeah, I think they should make the playoffs. I think Barnes is a really good player.
Ananobi's look great too. They're fun.
Yes.
They're really fun. But look, can we play playoff pretenders/contenders real quick? Just run it down for the end of the show. We can go with the easy one. 76ers. I mean, just merely to make
define contender/pretender. Define it.
This is where I've struggled. Do you want to do it as in will make the play-in/play? Let's do. You can give me 3 answers. You can give me playoffs as in top 6. You can give me play-in as the next, and then you can give me out. Is that fine? And we'll just call it.
Okay, all right. I thought you meant like what are they going to do once they get there?
No.
That's really what I thought we were getting at. Like that's when I determine if a team's good or not. Like not if they.
I agree with you.
Anyone can make the playoffs. It's not that hard.
But the teams have to get there first, and there's so many.
No, they do.
There's so many solid teams in the East that I think getting the playoffs this year is going to be a lot harder than people anticipate.
Like when I tell you Washington's bad, it's not because I don't necessarily think they can make the playoffs. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's like they're not beating anyone in the playoffs.
No, I think they'll have a competitive first round series at the very most. But
yeah, exactly. Like that's what I mean. Like those teams that are like first round exit teams are not teams I feel like the Celtics should be losing to. And we can disagree on that.
No,
because I think you have reason to disagree with that. I just think the guys on this team, and this really isn't what we're talking about right now, but I'm making it about them, are better than they're showing. I think they're a better team than they've played. And you agree because you said on paper they look fine. Mm-hmm. The shooting is hurt them.
Shooting's bad.
But they're not a worse team than Washington is. They might be playing worse than Washington is. But I mean, if Harrell's going to play like Kareem every game, maybe it's a little different story.
He's been out of his world.
Yeah, but
I also put out an article today predicting if the All-Star game was today, who would make it, and I didn't have any Celtics, so you might not be too happy about that.
No, well, maybe Horford should sneak in as like the 13th reserve, but I don't think the other two guys, maybe Brown, has earned it, but Tatum
was borderline. Brown was borderline. I'll tell you who I had making it at the end here, but
I mean, there are players that definitely deserve it. Like I would say, like the Bulls guys deserve it. Like their team's at the top right now. Of course, they deserve it. Like Embiid deserves it. Let's go down like the standing. I mean, those guys in Miami, Butler. I don't know about Lowry. He hasn't put up the best numbers.
Let me pull up my article. I can run through who I had, and you can give me a agree. We can skip the Eastern Conference thing because I don't think that would be as fun, anyways. All-Star predictions week 3. Lots of interesting faces. We can do the West second because that's not as interesting to you probably, but All-Stars in the East, you can have 4 guards, you need 6 forwards, and then 2 wild cards, right? So I had only 4 guards in the East, no wild cards or guards. And this is an ABC order. I didn't put it in any order of starters,
Harden.
blah, blah, blah. Yep.
Let me like go through them and then we'll see if we match.
Okay. You get, yeah. Okay.
Harden.
Yep.
Does Butler count as a guard?
No, he's a forward.
He's a forward. Okay.
Yeah. I had 4 guards. So you got 1 with Harden.
Not anyone from the Knicks. Levine is a guard.
Yep, Levine.
I don't think you picked Lonzo.
No, I did not.
No. Okay. Did you pick LaMelo?
I did not. He was on my list of just missed the cut,
Beal.
which I had some players. Beal did, yep. And then the fourth one you might think is a stretch, but with how good the team's been.
How good the team's been? I got to go through.
You do not like this
Seth
player.
Curry.
No. You do not like this player, but he deserves to be an all-star with how he's playing.
An all-star with how he's playing.
Miami.
Hero?
Yep. 22, 7, and 4 on those splits for the top.
I think
team
it's
in the East.
fair. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's a kind of a stretch, but
well, the
I
big
just
reason
can't
is
see it.
The big reason is there's not many guards who are there to compete with him. Obviously, Jaylen Brown's there, but with the way the Celtics are playing, I mean,
I think it's fair. I think that Miami team's really legit, so not that much of a problem with it.
You want to run through the forwards quick, and I'll tell you which one's.
But I think Jaylen Brown showed him who was boss head to head. So
yeah, I can't argue with
forwards, KD,
that.
Giannis.
Yep.
How many are there? Forwards.
I think I had 8 forwards.
Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
Let's see.
Same team. Stick with it. Forward / centers. It's front court players.
Oh, Bam.
Yep.
Embiid.
Yep.
Who else is like a good?
Randall,
you'll probably say.
I did have Randall. Yep.
Yeah. Did you say RJ Barrett?
No, he just missed the cut.
I don't think he should get it either. But,
it's close.
Surprised.
Just missed it.
DeRozan.
Yep. And then one more. Great team.
Great team.
Great team. In my opinion.
God.
Deserves it.
It's not Harris because he hasn't played.
It is. It is Harris. I have Harris.
Really? He's played
Tobias
like
Harris?
2 games.
Tobias Harris?
Yeah, he's had like COVID. He's been out for like.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no,
he's
played 6 games. He's played 6 games.
6 of 10. Like, it's not a lot. It's like just over half.
All right.
At this point, if it started today, I don't know.
I think you get it. I mean, the way his team
I think it's fair. It's just like
you could argue Seth over him, but he's a guard. I don't know.
I think Seth deserves some attention.
Credit. Seth is incredible.
Because he's been the best player. Like Embiid's been not good.
Yeah, Seth's amazing. You want to run through the West quick?
LeBron, Davis, Luke.
No Lakers.
No Lakers. Well, that
if the game if it started today.
Okay. Well.
Oh, I did have Davis. No LeBron.
Okay, Davis, Luka.
Yep. Do you want to go guards then forwards?
Yeah, do the same thing. Is Luka a guard or a forward?
3, 4, 5, 6. I had 6 guards and 2.
Is Luka a guard or a forward?
Guard.
Okay, Luka.
Yep.
Ja.
Yep.
Not Lillard. He's been bad. Curry.
Nope. Yep. 3 more.
You like the other kid? You like Poole? You like Poole to be an all-star?
No shot.
He's been playing really well, no?
He has. The West is extremely guard heavy.
Booker?
Some really good guards. No.
No, Mitchell.
Yes. Not Booker. Other one.
CP3? Yeah.
Yeah. He's putting up career high numbers in assists right now. He's putting up 12 assists a game. That's crazy.
And is there any more, or is that it?
One more guard. You guessed his teammate, who's been shitty, but this guy's been.
Oh, CJ?
Yeah, CJ.
Yeah.
He's been great. And then forwards. How many forwards do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 forwards.
Davis is 1.
Yep.
Anybody on Utah that I should be thinking about? I don't think so.
It's front court players. So yes.
Oh, so Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Front court players. Other Jokic.
Yep.
How many do I? 3 left.
3 more. 1's a center, 2 are forwards, and 1 could be classified as a guard, but he's.
Are you gonna say Ayton?
No,
I'm
Ayton.
trying to think. Are you gonna give Draymond the nod because the Warriors have been so good?
I thought about it. He just missed the cut.
Paul George.
He's
been good.
Paul George. 2 more. 1 you should get, and 1 you probably will not get. You should get the center.
Are you gonna say Towns?
I did. Have you seen his numbers? He's been fucking crazy.
Yeah, team's been not good.
They've been all right. They're 3 and 5. I mean, they're not.
They're 3 and 5. The Celtics are 4 and 6, and you left Brown off.
Yeah, but Towns' numbers are like. I'm sorry.
Numbers
he's shooting
can
like
kick rocks.
He's shooting like 55-40. He's been
efficiency is respectable.
Yeah, I mean, let me find it because I'm curious now. The last one is on a mid-tier team, but he's been great. You probably
what'd you say?
He's been on a mid-year team. Yeah, Towns is
Mid-tier team.
23.5 points, 9 rebounds, 51% from the field, 49% from three, attempting 6 threes a game, shooting 50%. That's ridiculous.
I'm trying to run through the teams in my head. Barnes.
Bingo. Yep. First guess. Yeah. Harrison Barnes. He deserves it right now. And then just missed the cut in the West was Devin Booker, Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Draymond Green, Shai Gilgeous, LeBron James, Dame Lillard.
Imagine
and then
fucking Twitter if like Harrison Barnes made it and LeBron didn't. They'd be like, oh my God.
Right.
LeBron.
And LeBron will make it because he'll make the playoffs.
I saw somebody today like tweet that, or not, I think it was on Facebook, but it was like someone's tweet. It was like Kyrie is like eligible for all-star votes. Like that could be the only game he could play. Like that's a joke. He's choosing essentially not to play basketball.
Who's this? Sorry, what did you say?
Kyrie.
Yeah.
Someone said like he's eligible for all-star votes. Like that could be like the one game he plays this year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not playing. He doesn't want to get vaccinated. So
it's not great. Yeah, and then the East just missed the cut was Jared Allen, Anunoby, LaMelo Ball, RJ Barrett, Jaylen Brown, Miles Bridges, Darius Garland, Montrezl Harrell, Jason Tatum, Fred VanVleet, Trae Young.
Oh, Harrell should be in there. I think.
He in the All-Star game.
I think he should be in. I don't know over who. Don't ask me over who, but I think
the tough thing was
get the nod.
I couldn't put him over Randall. I couldn't put him over Tobias Harris. I mean, you could argue over Tobias Harris, but I think when it comes down to it, Harris will get in.
He's in over Harris.
I think Embiid, Durant, DeRozan, Butler, Giannis, Adebayo. Like Harris is the only one you can have an argument, but I thought Harris deserved it. But anyways, yeah, that's all I got for today. Unless there's anything else you wanted to bring up.
No, but I will say, going back earlier, we were talking about pretenders, contenders.
Yeah,
teams that I actually think like that are playing well so far that can actually do something in the playoffs is Miami and maybe Philly. Because I don't know if anyone's going to stop Embiid, but he hasn't been. Really
I think the
so
Nets.
Far.
I think the Nets.
The Nets. Yeah, but the Nets haven't been playing well so far. That's the difference.
They've been pick shit up lately. They've been hot. But
we'll see about the Nets. My buddy thinks the Nets are frauds, and
I mean
they've struggled. Harden has not been good. He shot 17 free throws one game, and then other than that, he's been a scrub. Like
he's picked it up lately as well.
Against the Pistons, he straight up watched the dude grab the ball like in the backcourt.
Hilarious.
He drove and like hooked. Whose arm was it? He hooked somebody's arm.
Pacers guy, right?
No. This was against the Pistons as well. And he hooked the guy's arm, got called for the offensive foul, and looked like someone told him like something.
I did see that. I did see that. That was funny.
Like, I don't know what you want. They told you that it's not like you're getting blindsided here. They told you the rules were changing. You had all summer.
I think the Nets, the Heat, and the Sixers are the real contenders in the East. And I think the West, it's going to be the Warriors and the Jazz and maybe possibly Luka if he continues to be Luka.
Oh, I like that.
Even though he's struggling.
Jack told me a month ago that the Lakers would be the top of the conference, and the Warriors.
I was wrong. I'll admit you were correct. I was wrong. I was wrong about the Lakers.
People think I'm just hating. I just don't think Westbrook's good, and especially there. I don't think he's a good fit. Maybe I will say maybe on the Celtics he would be a good fit, just so he could move the ball around and whip it around to those guys. But it's just a different thing. Like I don't know. I still wouldn't really want him on the Celtics.
Yeah. The last thing I will say before we get out of here. I think the Celtics need to take a really long look at their team at the deadline and consider making a splash. I think with Sacramento specifically.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I would say a splash, but I think if they think they can compete, which I kind of think they do, especially I think you keep mentioning Schroeder, but I think he's important to them being a good team. If if they're going to keep him, I also would really like to see if they can look to keep him past this season, if they can convince him to stay, which I don't think will happen.
Yeah. It's not
but I think he's been so good. Even though, like, I understand, like, the other side where people don't think he's been good. I don't know why. I just really enjoy watching him play. And I thought
he's been solid.
My eye test, despite whatever, like, his splits are shooting, like, tells me he's making a positive impact out there. I don't know.
No, yeah.
I like his play style with this team. I guess.
No, I understand. What I was saying, I think they need to get, and I think both of them are gettable despite how well Barnes has been playing. I think they could make a trade for Barnes because I don't think the Kings are going to be good enough where it's worth keeping them if the Celtics give a good enough package. Or Buddy Hield. The shooting thing, you got it.
I think Hield's a good get if they can get him.
Yeah,
keep him away from the Lakers at the least. Like
imagine
that, Jack. Like they chose to like they probably could have got either of those guys, and they went for Westbrook.
Yeah, no, they fucked up. I was wrong.
Because they're like, oh, like he's buddies with everybody, so let's go get him.
You know what happened?
LeBron can make everything work, even though if this guy is the same player as he is.
They were about to take the Hield trade, and then LeBron had a meeting with Westbrook and was like, "No, don't do that. We're gonna."
No way.
Yeah, they
met.
Oh,
that rules.
I'm pretty sure that's happened because I wrote about it. I was writing a piece for a.
Did your sources tell you, Jack?
Yeah, my extensive sources. No, LeBron, Westbrook, and AD had a meeting, and then I'm pretty sure what happened because you saw the Shams and yeah.
He wasn't on your team yet. You should be fined. And they need to take tampering more serious. Like if you tamper, like that guy shouldn't be able to go to your team.
I mean, Tatum would be fined a lot for tampering as well.
Yeah, but
anyways,
he's not like an offender like LeBron is. I mean, LeBron will be like straight up
a repeat offender. Yeah. Anyways, that's all I had for today. Anything else you wanted to bring up quickly?
No, not today. I hope they play well in Brown's absence. I'm excited for Toronto's game. I like Toronto. I like Scotty.
I like watching Toronto. I do too. I was wrong about Scotty too. And it's never that I didn't like Scotty. I just thought Suggs was better.
Clowning him. You were like Jalen Suggs this, Jalen Suggs that. And he's been all right. He hasn't been like amazing. He looked good in the preseason to me. I will say, I watched at the end of Cavs Raptors for some reason. I saw it was a close game and it was entertaining, so I'm glad I watched. Dude, if Jared Allen made a 3 against the Celtics, I would be so mad.
Oh yeah, that was
in an important moment. He makes a 3.
It was huge. I was there. I was watching it. Yeah.
I mean, I would be all over you guys. I'd be like, you can't make this up. This stuff that happens to the Celtics.
As an opponent, I hate him, but as a person and as a coach, Nick Nurse is amazing.
Oh, Nick Nurse is the worst.
Bro, I know.
I hate Nick Nurse. But I forgot how much I dislike him until like he comes around and walks around with his mouth agape and his hands
just a nuisance. He's just a nuisance. And
not even that. He's like the worst. Like that preseason game against the Raptors where like they won, it took like an extra 20 minutes because he wanted to like try and win in the preseason with his bench guys that are never going to see the floor.
Watching the game as a fan of one of the teams, it's ugly. But from an outside perspective, and as a Raptors fans, he's just got to be the best. Like, yeah. But anyways, that's all I had. Thank you guys so much for listening to the From the Rafters podcast. Check us out at Bannertown USA on Twitter. I'm Jack Simone NBA on Twitter. And go ahead, Sam.
Thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Are these even going up, Jack?
I didn't get the last one up because
am I just saying this every time?
No. I got one of the recent ones up. The last one I went out right after I released it, so I didn't have time. But this one will be up.
Usually, like they pop up in my like featured page or whatever because I always like will click them, and they haven't been coming up as. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah. You don't put that's just because the last couple times I just didn't have time to get them up. This one will be up on YouTube though for sure.
It's not like I'm doing anything to help the cause, so it's like whatever. You do what you have time for. But yeah, I'm just saying this every time. Yeah, I mean, if you are watching, like, share, subscribe. You can see me look at like my ceiling while I make points because I don't want to look at the camera because I feel like it's weird. If you're listening, follow us. Subscribe if you can do that. I don't know. If you're using, all right. So we're gonna start doing this now because we're gonna make an air room, or maybe we won't for this one because we'll probably have a guest next time. But we're gonna remember one of these times to make these air rooms so you can like talk to us if you want to on the podcast.
Yeah, send in messages. The Air app, AIRR. Go download it.
Yes, and you can also listen to the podcast on there. So it's very convenient for you. If you would like to combine all those things, the people there were very nice to us, had a meeting with us. His name was also Sam, which is usually bizarre for me. Not used to it. But yeah, very nice of him to discover us. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. You can follow Jack at Jack Simone NBA. Follow Bannertown at Bannertown USA. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's our show for
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.